The World Health Organization, along with other UN agencies, are planning to send between 500 and 600 trucks into Gaza every day over the coming weeks. Those trucks are already queuing at the southern Rafah crossing. That's a huge jump from the 40 to 50 trucks that have been reaching Gaza in recent months.
It's doable, but it's unrealistic to believe that the 600 truck would be brought only by the UN or humanitarian organization. The 600 would be realistic if you let the commercial flow go into Gaza.
The humanitarian situation had become so desperate that in September, 15 major aid groups blamed Israel's systematic aid obstruction and demanded international pressure. As of September 2024, they said 83% of required food aid did not reach Gaza, up from 34% in 2023. That meant Palestinians went from having 2 meals on average per day to 1 meal every other day. They estimated 50,000 children aged between 6 months to 5 years old required treatment for malnutrition by the end of 2024. The new aim for the boost of aid is similar to the level reaching Gaza before October 7th, 2023, and even then, Gaza was beset with shortages. Rylee, Carlson, Al Jazeera.
Well, Martin Griffiths is the former UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator. He's joining us in the studio. Good to have you back with us.
Thank you.
Alongside that title, I know that you have significant experience in pulling together ceasefire agreements, and it's on that basis that I want to talk to you, because looking forward, it seems obvious to those of us standing on the outside that the only way for there to be a degree of stability for Israel and for the Palestinians, particularly in Gaza, is for there to be a proper political structure in Gaza responsible to the people of Gaza. In your assessment and given your experience, what do you think that would look like? What does it have to have within it to be able to work?
I think it's the central question, Rob, and I'm very glad you're focusing on it, because it's partly a matter of international values, but it's much more than that. It's also a matter of international security and good neighborliness, for God's sake. Right across the world, most people I've met with in so many different countries and wars around the world all share, ordinary people like us, all share the desire to be good to their neighbors, essentially. And God knows you see this in Gaza. So there's two things here. First of all, we need to have a proper process, an accountable publicly process to identify who's going to run Gaza and the West Bank, and how their security is to be assured. The two things, and they're linked, obviously, on the basis that Israel's security, which is obviously very important, will only be assured on the basis of mutual security. The regional stability in pieces at the moment, but with some prospects, can only be assured if it's mutual. And there are signs, aren't there, within the region of states coming together on certain things. What does this mean specifically for Gaza now? It really means that there needs to be signaling very early on, already, I hope, that there is a process moving towards the rule of the Palestinian Authority, or whatever arrangements the Palestinian people demand and have in mind. Security towards them helped by the region. And there is talk, isn't there, about an Emirati force and others. And that's good, because we know the Palestinian Authority needs to be empowered and prepared for their new opportunities. And finally, and there are very good efforts. I'm very impressed by the way in which Hamas and Fatah has talked to each other, and helped by China and Egypt, as we know. That's super important, because of course it's clear that terrible acts have been done. It doesn't mean to say, I'm sorry to say, that the people of Palestine want to exclude the perpetrators of those acts. And indeed, we've heard the opposite on some of your programs recently. So there needs to be a clear blue sky operation to say, let's now have a public conversation about the future of the Palestinian people. And I'm old-fashioned. I'm sure a two-state solution is going to be the central focus of that. And we've failed. We in the international community have failed for whatever it is, 70 years, to get that done. Now's the time.
Yeah. Martin, we've got about a minute and 30 seconds left, but I just briefly want to get an idea from you. Again, drawing on your experience, one of the issues of this is clearly trust, but also Israel's desire to maintain security around Gaza. Equally, there are a number of young men, particularly in Gaza, who have been heavily armed. We've got to collect those arms.
Yes.
We have about 30 seconds. Who should be responsible for collecting those arms together and making sure that the security setup is safe?
Well, I think the mediators have a very, very important role there, because the collectors of arms, and I've had lots of different places where we've done that, needs to be done by an independent body. But it needs to be assured, it needs to be understood, and it needs to be recognized. The mediators have the opportunity to do that. And whether that means from foreign forces that come in to do it is one thing. But it needs, whatever the case, it needs to be overseen by and have the authority of the Palestinian Authority. That's what it's there for.
Martin Griffiths, we appreciate you giving us the benefit of your expertise in this. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.